recognition to the best effort and characteristics of any person. Now, nothing has happened to diminish my esteem for this man since I wrote that in 1982. The tragedy, however, is that the Soviet Union steadfastly refuses to acknowledge his existence or their responsibility for his disappearance. They maintain their contemptible silence despite the efforts of many people to elicit information concerning Raoul Wallenberg. This silence is a pathetic shield behind which they attempt to hide their guilt. Raoul Wallenberg is indeed a great hero for the cause of international freedom and for the fight against racial discriminations. We in the West must continue to fight for his freedom and for the freedom of all those imprisoned throughout the world because of their class, religion, race or political beliefs. Together, we'll continue to remind the Soviet government that we're concerned about their treatment of Raoul Wallenberg. I'll do all I can to remind them of their guilt and to secure his release. I've been associated with the Release Raoul Wallenberg campaign for a number of years. I've spoken at several schools, many Jewish schools whose parents or grandparents were affected by the Holocaust. After speaking at one of them, the principal sent me a poem written by a 10-year-old Jewish child. It's called A Salute to Raoul Wallenberg. A grey shadow figure with a well-knotted tie, a banker from Sweden with soul in his eye, a man who knew Jews but little of war, a man who hoped peace was nearby the door. From orderly grey in his new knitted vest, he stepped into war in cruel Budapest. War, Nazis murdering Jews, long queues heading for Auschwitz, a reign of terror clamouring down to drown Jews in a raging sea of blood, anarchy, confusion. And out of this he learnt to bribe, he learnt to flatter, he learnt to forge, he learnt to barter, he learnt to smuggle, he was not scared, and tens of thousands of lives were spared. And then with one last act of might, 70,000 lives he saved in one night. And now, where is this sole grey man, this man who freed so many men, incarcerated in grey stone walls, broken and battered because it mattered? Please hear our voice. Please set him free. Please.
Ladies and gentlemen, the convener of the Free Wallenberg Committee, Dr. Frank Varda.
Madam Mayor, distinguished guests, as Mrs. O'Brien said, we are here to honor Raoul Wallenberg in absentia, and this is not a remembrance or commemoration ceremony. This is firstly to honor the man and to give expression to our concern for him. We believe he is alive, and the people closest to him, his immediate family, believe that he is alive as a result of information which cannot be revealed, because the last open sighting at the end of the 70s was punished by the informant being jailed. We would like the spirit of this ceremony to prevail throughout the world. We would like the Soviet Union to listen to our communication, and we would like them to understand that Raoul Wallenberg's fate matters to a lot of people. We would like them to release him, not in exchange for technology or in exchange for other spies or other people. There is no one of comparable importance in the West that the Russians might be interested in. We would like him released for goodwill, for a nice gesture, in order to improve relations between countries to the level where further communications can be taken to improve standards of living and to safeguard human rights. Raoul Wallenberg, a 32-year-old man, volunteered for the job that resulted in the saving of a large number of people in occupied Hungary. He saved 30,000 people by issuing them with protective papers, by providing people with housing, medical care, and occasionally releasing them from the banks of the Danube where they were about to be executed. Raoul Wallenberg opened the doors of the cattle trucks, and according to the quotation on the wall of the office of the Wallenberg Association of Sweden, it says, "We were being driven towards the crematoria, and there was one man there turning us back. That man was Raoul Wallenberg." He was arrested in a blatant breach of international law because he was a diplomat, he had diplomatic status, and the Russians, since his arrest in 1945, have issued a series of statements which amount to misinformation about his subsequent fate and whereabouts. First, they said he was under protective custody. Secondly, they said they haven't heard of him. 12 years later, they said they had him, they regretted it, they apologized, but then they said that he died 12 years earlier. Since then, many people have testified that Wallenberg had been alive many, many years after his alleged death in various Soviet prisons, and although he has never been to have been subjected to torture or deprivation in labor camps, he was in prisons for many years, occasionally encountering brave people who gave the information to people who care for his fate. We would like to say that Wallenberg had been honored, and the purpose of this ceremony is not so much to honor him, but to let the world know that we do care for him, and that the campaign aimed at his release will continue until a satisfactory account will be given and he will be liberated. Wallenberg had been made a righteous Gentile by the State of Israel. A postage stamp had been issued for him last year. He was made an honorary citizen of the United States, an honor second only to Sir Winston Churchill, and numerous heads of government have given their solidarity to the Swedish government in trying to pursue the case of Raoul Wallenberg aggressively with the Soviet Union, but the Soviet Union so far has seen fit to ignore all protests. This is not the first ceremony in Australia to honor Raoul Wallenberg, but it is the largest one. And we are indebted to Q Council, and we are indebted to you all for adding your solidarity to the campaign to free Raoul Wallenberg.
So now, ladies and gentlemen, it is my very great privilege and pleasure on behalf of the Council of the City of Kew to declare this garden to be named Raoul Wallenberg Garden, and I invite His Excellency, the Ambassador of Sweden, Mr. Hedstrom, to assist me to unveil the name plaque.
Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the
Casette, I want to